Susan Stengelville. Tonight we take a look at the past, our past. On this, the 80th anniversary of November 28, 1931, we'll explore the history behind African Americans in early film and how Hollywood helped further the impact of the eugenics movement in America. For the story, let's check in with Preston.
Thank you, Susan. I'm Preston Price. The 1930s in America was a fascinating period. We experienced the pain and hardship of the Great Depression. We watched as mankind once again plunged into worldwide war. We also fell even more in love with a phenomenon known as film. As the film industry grew in influence, stereotypes became more ubiquitous and more dangerous. Tonight we focus on a particular stereotype surrounding African Americans portrayed in films during the 1930s. But first, let's look at an important development at the time, the American eugenics movement. In 1883, Sir Francis Galton coined the term eugenics as the science of race improvement. This convinced many people in the United States that it was society's responsibility to allow only fit individuals to mate, much like how livestock breeding is controlled. President Theodore Roosevelt himself described allowing lower quality humans to breed as race suicide. As a result of this support, the eugenics movement led to at least 60,000 involuntary sterilizations. Now, African Americans were generally included in the unfit category, seen as lazy, incompetent, and unintelligent. During the 1930s, many African Americans were sterilized against their will, often without their knowledge. African American roles in popular film definitely aided the eugenic assault on the blacks. Several common characters arose from African Americans cast in 1930s films. We'll focus on two. The first is the lazy, incompetent African American. A classic example is Stepin Fetchit, who appeared in over 40 films as an extremely lazy, dumb, and comical sidekick or extra. In Charlie Chan Goes to Egypt, he is easily duped into believing his ancestors are mummies. Roles like this one sent the clear message that African Americans do not have the mental capacity or motivation to be productive in society. Secondly, films often had an African American house slave. Bill Robinson in The Little Colonel, alongside Shirley Temple, depicts a tap-dancing slave, always smiling and always content where he's at. His character sent the message to moviegoers that African Americans are happy as slaves. Hattie McDaniel, as Mammy in Gone with the Wind, plays a house slave. She is a tough character, well fit for slavery. This character sends the message that blacks work best as slaves, for their own good and for the good of society. America supported Hattie's role so wholeheartedly that they gave her an Oscar for it. Clearly, these stereotypes were deep in the minds of many Americans. So, in conclusion, African Americans were often seen as unfit for reproduction because of their supposed lack of intellect and potential. The stereotypical roles in film served to reinforce the ideas maintained by the eugenics movement. Although the films did not always directly pose eugenics as the solution, there is certainly a whisper coming from them. A whisper that these black characters really do reflect reality. Society would be better off with them sterile. Undoubtedly, film in this case truly did cause some Americans to support eugenics, reminding us of the power, influence, and responsibility of the media and ourselves as consumers. That's all for now. We're going to cut to a commercial break. Thanks so much for listening.